Hi, I'm Jess the Bookworm here on BookTube, and whoa, the light just changed like crazy. I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite books. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone. I have notes. Some of my favorite books from 2020. These are my like top reads. I think I ended up picking like five YA middle grade and like five adult. The lights are doing crazy stuff. Kind of loving it though. Okay, so we're going to just talk through those again because I'm trying to just get 2020 done and out of the way and talk about, some of the books I enjoyed. I did love a lot of books that I read in 2020. It was a pretty good reading year, which out of reading 120 books, you would hope that you like a lot of them. I think I picked 10 books that I'm going to be talking about. So let's start with Good Omens. This is by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Some of you may have seen the TV series. I started watching it, but I didn't finish it. The book was so hilarious, though. This was just so funny. So this is definitely a fantasy book. It's like the apocalypse, the end of the world is going to be happening soon in this story. And basically you have, and this is one of the characters, Aziraphale. I don't know if I can say his name. Aziraphale, whatever his name is. But it's a like demon and an angel, and they've both lived on Earth since the, beginning of time. And they really like Earth. And so, they know of the plan of the world ending. And they kind of have to work together and team up a little bit. And then there's an Antichrist character as well. So it's a pretty crazy read. I loved how it was. So this was like it was like a journey. This was, looks like just under 500 pages. But the span of time, and really it's not like that long of a time span for the main story, but they do a lot of flashbacks. And so, and kind of just giving you extra information. So it feels like a full journey. I definitely laughed out loud a lot through this. Some of the stuff that I loved, I just got a voicemail. Some of the stuff that I loved was they had like these little notations at the bottom of the page, kind of making it feel like this was, real and true and whatnot. So you have like these little like notations at the bottom that give additional information to the story. Their lights changed. So, you can kind of get like more information on an important topic, but it's all hilarious because it's a fictional, story. And I also liked so this, if you notice, it's the nice and accurate prophecies of Agnes Nutter, who is a witch. And she wrote some prophecies. And so you have the prophecies, the prophecies. You have some of those snippets in here. If I can find one, I would show it to you. But they have some of those snippets that kind of like they are looking at and kind of breaking down because they're, prophecies about the end of the world, like this one. So, you have like the prophecy over here with the date, and then you have like some of the notations of, what they think that it means, and kind of like annotating it and deciding like, ooh, is this what this means? Like, is this what this was? So this was just really funny. I super enjoyed it. And I think I gave it like 5 out of 5 stars. So good read there. Let's talk about, I'm going to try and do like maybe all the adult books together. And that one was an adult book. Let's go with the next one, which this book, this was such a bad choice to read during this time because it's all about like a horrible virus, pandemic, global thing. And that is The Stand by Stephen King. Can we just appreciate for a minute how dark and creepy this is? He's got like a bullet in his mouth and like smoke coming out. And this is a depiction of a character. Which you can probably guess, because why would they have them on the cover if it wasn't? But can we appreciate for a minute how massive she thick? This is 11. I want to get the exact number because I'm proud that I read this massive book. I love big books, and I cannot lie. This was 1,153 pages. And I decided to read this like near the end of the year. What was I thinking? With all, you know, trying to get to 120, and I decided to pick this one up. But it was really good. This one, again, like I said in the last one, this was a whole journey. This was a saga right here. Like you get so much. There were like crazy amounts of characters. I almost wanted to like list them all out and like kind of keep notes when I was reading it. This is an adult. It has elements of like supernatural, but also like sci-fi, definitely like post-apocalyptic. And we have tons of differing perspectives. There's kind of two different teams, I guess we'll call them. And these things are revealed on the back cover, so I'm not giving anything away. But there's like I guess you would call them like a positive or good entity, and then there's like an evil entity. And they're gathering people from whoever's left and didn't die from the disease to their kind of camps. This definitely would have some trigger warnings. So probably look into that if that is a concern to you. And yeah, like I said, this is everybody's dealing with, all of the different perspectives are all dealing with a global virus that is super highly contagious. It spreads rapidly. It has 95% I think like death rate. Like if you get it and you don't die, you're super special. It's just crazy at the beginning of the book, and it just made me kind of like nervous because of course we're living in a pandemic currently. They talked about like a person who had it going and visiting other people and spreading it, and that happened several times, and it was just like, oh my gosh, oh, stay at home quarantine. But yeah, so this was pretty crazy. In the book, just like a couple of things, this is broken into 3 like books, but I do recommend, reading them all kind of in one go, not in one sitting, because but I wouldn't like read one book and put it away and walk away and do whatever. You'll want to read all 3 at once. And there are, sorry, just looking at my notes to see what I wanted to tell you guys, but there are some interesting things in this, and I didn't see this before I purchased it, but they have a preface to be read before purchasing, and it kind of like gives you some information about this specific version of the text, which is a complete and uncut edition. This contains like his whole story. I suppose there's other, which is the only one that I picked up. This is what I got. This is what I have. But I guess there's other editions that have certain scenes and things removed. So he explains all of that in the preface, that this is not a new novel that was released, but this was one that contains all of kind of the backstories and all the extra stuff. And so I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool that I was reading like the full text as my first read, and I did really enjoy it. I didn't feel like it was really overinflated at all because so much happens. I wanted to show you guys, let me pick one from the beginning. This also, which I'd never really seen this before in like a serious adult book. See if I can find one. They have these illustrations in it that are usually like really, really creepy. So when you would come to one of those, it'd kind of be like, whoa. Like, oh, like this one. Perfect example of super terrifyingly creepy, like black and white drawing that's in the book. So there's several of those throughout. So it's kind of like, oh, a little surprise, a little picture. So, okay, so that was my second adult book. Let's go on to another adult book. Okay, we'll go with this one. Supermarket. And this isn't dirty. That's how the book actually looks. Ooh, got that 20% off. We love ourselves a deal at Target. This book, Supermarket, was, oh, and I don't know if I mentioned, this one was obviously Stephen King. His name's massive on the front. This one was written by Bobby Hall, who's also known as Logic, I suppose now the retired rapper. I think I read something where he's retired now. This one, I feel like there's like two definitive camps of people. You either really like it or you really don't. I really liked it. This is a contemporary adult book that focuses on Flynn, our main character, who has gone through quite a bit. He's an aspiring writer. His like girlfriend's dumped him, so he's like newly dumped. He's depressed. He gets a job at a supermarket that he thinks having a normal job is just going to make his life a lot better, and it's just going to change things for him. There, where he's trying to like normalize himself into this job, a lot of things start happening. For one, he starts writing a story about his experience in the supermarket, but he also dives deeper into some mental illnesses that he has to conquer and overcome. And I just loved like the realness of this and just the experiencing of the pain and the anxiety as it was written in here. Definitely trigger warnings. Look that up again. But I think it's interesting that Bobby Hall, Logic, he actually talks in this a little bit about his own experiences with mental illness and with some of the the things that he's had to overcome. So I just thought this was a really cool book. I know that other people, I read some other reviews of people who didn't like the writing style, because some of it is just, I'd say it's like a more simplified writing style. It's almost like writing like you'd speak, but I actually really enjoyed that for this. Again, it just made the experience feel kind of authentic. And I enjoy books that deal with big issues like mental illness. I think it's important to talk about them and to, just normalize talking about them and realizing that even though an illness is invisible, it doesn't mean that it is not there and it is not causing pain and stress and suffering. So I enjoyed this. This was Supermarket by Bobby Hall, or Logic. So that was my third adult book I've talked about. Let's talk about the next one that I have, and then I have one where I own the book, but I can't find the copy. So, okay, so we're going to talk about, this is one that I think a lot of people know about. Hold on, let me get my coffee. Oh, sorry about that. She's good. All right, so let's talk about Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I know a lot of people have talked about this one, and this was just, it was beautiful. It was awesome. It deals with very opposing mothers or women, and their relationship to their family and society and the world and all those things. So we have Elena and Mia, and they're complete opposites. Elena is a wife and a mother, and she actually helps to develop this community of, I think it's called Shaker Heights, which is actually like a real community. And basically, Shaker Heights is one that's a progressive suburb, and everything is planned, which is a pretty good metaphor for Elena. Like, she wants everything planned. She wants things, a certain way. She's particular. And then we have Mia, who comes in and actually rents a house from Elena. So that's kind of how their first connection happens. But Mia is this just carefree, nomadic, single mother, and her daughter travel around. And then we start getting some interconnectedness between Mia and Elena, because she's renting a house from her, and they both have children, and the children start having, spending time together or whatever. And some secrets are revealed, some, just unexpected ways that the families intertwine. I don't want to give much more away, but it does have a really powerful ending. And I think it could raise a lot of really good discussions about, different lifestyles, different ways of, engaging with the world and society, and like the mother-daughter relationships in here could be something that could be kind of discussed and talked about. And this actually does have, this edition at least has a questions for discussion. So this could be a cool book for a book club. It was in Reese's book club. Yay, Reese Witherspoon. But again, I know a lot of people have talked about this one. So this one was a good read though. And then my last adult book I'm going to talk about, again, I don't have the copy, but maybe I can insert a picture. Good at this YouTube stuff yet. But it was Educated by Tara Westover. Amazing. I loved this one. It was a memoir, right? So giving us all about her life. She was raised in a Mormon family, and the Mormon family that she was a part of was really survivalistic. They just focused on, we're going to make sure that we survive whatever may be happening, in whatever way. And so she stayed at home. She was homeschooled with them, and the family lived in a very isolated way anyway, away from society, kind of mistrusting of society. And so her life, she's kind of following this pursuit of education that comes in lots of different ways, from, learning, homeschooling, and then moving on to, kind of break some gates down, break some walls down that maybe had been placed upon her. So it was just really great to kind of witness her as a young adult turning into an adult, turning into, the person that she was going to become, and watching her kind of move out of isolation, move out of expectations that had been placed on her, and kind of stepping into her own. It was just beautiful. There was, some traumatic things that happens in there, so check trigger warnings, just again. But Educated was amazing. I absolutely loved reading that. It was just so interesting to see, different perspectives from my own. It's kind of like the idea of, gotta get comfy. The idea of books as windows, right? Where you can look and see somebody else's life and perspective and all those things. So I really enjoyed that. And as a teacher too, with the whole, excitement and drive for education. Ooh, love that. All right, let's talk about my YA middle grade reads. The first one I'm going to talk about, and actually I only have, I think, 2 physical books that I'm going to be talking about, and then I have some audiobooks that I'm going to be talking about. So let's talk about, I read this one just a few months ago, loved it. Romeo and Julio. This was by Sharon M. Draper. Sharon Draper is awesome. She also wrote Tears of a Tiger, Forged by Fire, which I've read both of those. And she read another, she wrote another YA book, or middle grade, maybe YA middle grade, that I'm going to be talking about next. So actually 2 of my top books were by Sharon Draper. So she's amazing. Read her stuff. So basically Romeo and Julio, obviously we realize this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. So this is a contemporary YA story that, again, retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but it was done in such a great way. We have a girl, Romeo, who is African American, and she's lived in this community. I can't remember exactly where it was that they were living, but she's been living there for a while, and yeah, I can't remember where exactly it was, but she's been living there for a while. And then we have Julio, who is new to the community, has just moved in. He actually moved away from his old school because there was some threats of gang violence. And in Romeo's school, there is gang violence happening currently. So he's kind of like jumped out of the pan into the fire, I guess. I don't know if it's a good metaphor for that. But there's lots of gang violence in this. So again, you know, just not a good situation. Trigger warnings. Think about that if that's something you're interested in looking up. But anyway, so we have a... obviously, you find out that there's going to be a romance that happens, a relationship between Romeo and Julio. There's some parental feuds happening, obviously Romeo and Juliet. But it really speaks a lot to stereotypes in different races and just kind of like peer pressure that can be happening in this age. And yeah, I loved some of the like features that I loved in this. So you can tell this kind of like a 90s book. They have like the chat room where Romeo and Julio, I believe that is where they met. And then, you know, like little private chat room things and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I just loved some of those features in the book. Oh, I also loved that Romeo has a best friend whose name is Destiny. And I just thought, how perfect. How cute is that? So basically, let me just give you this sentence as a rundown because I just think this does it better justice. Romeo is African American and Julio is Hispanic, and the Devil Dogs, a dangerous local gang, violently oppose their interracial relationship. So this gets into some deep, more modern day stuff, you know, that I think kids can relate to a little bit more than Romeo and Juliet, maybe. Not saying that's not something good to teach or share with kids, but this could be something that they could read for enjoyment that gives them, you know, the struggle between doing what your family wants versus what your heart's telling you to do, struggling against, you know, societal norms and what everybody else is pressuring you to do. So, loved this. Let me go ahead and talk about the next Sharon Draper book that rocked my world in 2020. That one was called Double Dutch. And there's like 3 stories that intertwine. We have Delia, who has this secret that's been with her. I'm not I won't share what the secret is, but she has something that she's been like hiding and keeping from everyone, including her mother. So she's one person, and she's in a double Dutch, obviously from the name, double Dutch competition. So she's really good at double Dutch jump rope. And then her boyfriend, Randy, is dealing with the issue of parental issue, we'll just say that, that he's not sharing. So he's got a secret. And then there's also, so kind of like the third story here, is there's these twins that are at school, the Tolliver twins, and they show up and people are kind of like judging them from how they appear, judging them from the clothes they wear and the things that they're saying. And everybody just kind of thinks they're very dangerous. And so these stories all do intertwine, mix together, combine. We kind of get where they all tie in together during the story. I thought it was perfect for, it'd be perfect for like a middle school classroom to share, because it makes you think about, you know, when we're judging somebody based on their appearances or based on just the things that they're showing us and not who they really are. And we don't really get to know people until they open up to us. So it's kind of like, you know, just a good thing to share, a good idea to think about. If you're judging somebody because they're walking around looking all tough, that might not even be who they really are. That might be something that they're putting on in order to, you know, display a front. But anyway, so I just thought it was a great story. And when the secrets are revealed, I think that could also lead to a powerful discussion. So I'm not going to say much more about that because I don't really want to give anything else away, but that was Double Dutch by Sharon Draper. I'm going to see if maybe I can put like a picture here or something. I don't know. Okay. Let's talk about, we'll talk about the other, this will be the third YA or middle grade book. And this one was also an audiobook, so I'll try and maybe put a picture or something here. This one was called How It Feels to Float. This, who's the main character. I love the audiobook of this, by the way. I just thought it really added a lot to the story. And it made me feel like I knew Biz by the end of it. But Biz she deals with some deep, dark thoughts that occur. So she's struggling with mental illness, and she is dealing with all of these struggles of life. She kisses her best friend, and she's not sure how she feels about it. Affects us. So I just thought this was a great read. I cannot remember right now who wrote it, but again, hopefully I will insert a picture to help us out. And is this the last one? Let me see. Ooh, I have another audiobook that I want to talk about. Sorry, again, looking at my notes. This one was a Kata witch. I hope I'm saying that right. This was a fantasy middle grade. Loved it. We have Sunny, who was born in America, but she moves to Nigeria, and she is an albino African-American girl, and she, you know, is struggling to fit in because she doesn't look like everyone else. She loves playing sports, but she can't really be outside because her skin gets burned very easily. While she's dealing with all of that, moving to a new place, trying to make friends, you know, all of that, she learns that she's something called a free agent, and that she's part of this community of leopard people. And basically people in this community can do magic. And I just loved learning about like the magic system, and like they earn coins when they learn things. And I just thought like, how amazing is that? I want to earn coins when I learn something new. That sounds absolutely amazing. So I just loved like, and her learning about her magical abilities and things that she could do is just helping us to learn about the world. It was such a fun read. I really enjoyed that one. Let's see. So I've talked about 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to talk about my last YA middle grade book. And then I'm going to end this video because it's getting long. And this one, again, this is something that I think a lot of people have talked about. This was Save the Date by Morgan Matson. Again, look at that bargain. We love a deal. I just thought this is a pretty cute cover too. Like, cute. And before I even talk about like the book, I thought this was really pretty. Got that pink sparkly. And then if you look at the inside flap, we've got Grant Central Station by Eleanor Grant, who's actually our main character's mother. And then we have, yeah, there we go. And then we have like a little cartoon picture of the family with kind of a lot happening there. So the main character's mother is actually a cartoonist. What would you call them? She has a comic strip that she writes. I don't know the right technical words for that. But this was such a fun read. This is YA contemporary romance, I'd go so far to say. Definitely has a lot of romance in it. Charlie is our main character, and she's at like the very end of her high school career, gonna be graduating soon and thinking about college, but she is like the kind of person, kind of character that wants things to stay the same. Like, she doesn't care for change a whole lot. She's really excited everybody's gonna be getting together for her sister's wedding, hence the like wedding cake mishap here. And so she just wants everybody to kind of remain the same. She's looking forward to spending time with her family and just getting to do things like they always do. But there's, some things that go wrong, of course. We have where, the wedding planner quits and just all of these kind of horrible things. Mixing up tuxedo, there's a dog, there's all kinds of stuff. But also something that's very distracting and disruptive for her is her crush being a part of the helping out with the wedding. So anyway, cute romance. It was just absolutely adorable. I loved, and this was actually a signed edition too that I got. Signed, and it was a bargain. Love that. I love, at the beginning of each chapter too, we get these adorable snippets of the comic strip that the mom writes, and the mom includes a lot of their life in the comic strips. So this was such a fun, sweet, quick read. I so enjoyed it. And those are all the books that I wanted to talk about. So that was 5 YA middle grade top reads of 2020, and then 5 adult top reads of 2020. So please let me know what books were some of your favorites of 2020. Let me know in the chat if you've read any of those books and liked them or didn't like them. Tell me that too. That's fine by me. No hate here. And I'm gonna go ahead and end this because it's getting quite long, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.